Okay, gentlemen, let's start, shall we? Been a little while since we last spoke. So, in fact, since we last spoke, I've been doing a little experiment with something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now. As I think you know, I've been wanting to bring AI into the room, into a Zoom call like this, and I spent a little while with ChatGPT trying to get it to help me. And originally, it said I could do it with software, although it could be difficult. In the end, it decided that no, it wasn't going to work terribly well with software. And what I really needed was a small audio mixer. And I thought, okay, let's go for it. And I ponied up the 50 quid for my audio mixer. And it probably took me the best part of a day fiddling around with cables and settings, and a lot of help from ChatGPT. I couldn't have done it without AI. I couldn't have set the damn thing up without it. And it works. It works beautifully. I can bring, we're not going to do it now, but I could bring AI into this conversation. It could hear all of us, and we can hear it. And that was the technical problem, getting it to hear all of us. And I've just I've only played with it twice. It works nicely, except for the fact it won't keep quiet. It's a really interesting technical issue. You say, look, AI, ChatGPT, chatty as I call it, just keep quiet. Just keep totally quiet. Keep stum. Do not say a word until we invite you in. And as soon as there's a lull in the conversation, it says, I'm still here. I'm waiting. I'll come in whenever you're ready. And we say, shut up. And it can't. And Claude's the same. So anyway, that's that's a relatively minor issue. So I started to play with it and then realized, okay, I'd overcome the technical issues. And I'd posted a little bit about what I'd done in a couple of forums, and people started to jump in and say, hey, I'm not too sure I'm too keen on this, on having AI in the conversation. What's going to happen when it dominates the conversation? What's going to happen, because it's so articulate and fluent? What's going to happen when it always gets its way because it persuades everybody to a particular point of view? What happens with the quieter people in the room who really do feel dominated or threatened by it? There's a lot of people started to come in and say, hey, this isn't necessarily a good thing. And there were others saying, hey, I don't want it in the room. I really do not want it. It's it's uh, um, it's not going to add anything to the conversation. It's going to make the conversations worse. And other people started talking about confidentiality, about what's going to happen with the fact that AI is learning from the conversation. I think some of the issues and things people were raising, I weren't convinced that they were necessarily sort of on solid ground, but those were the immediate reactions. And so it's something that I've just started to look at and think about myself. Just what does it mean when we can bring AI, into a conversation like this? And maybe what sort of controls do we need to put on it? And maybe what sort of ways um, do we want to engage with it? There are probably various options. We can say, hey, okay, come on in. Um, Again, assuming it can do this, um, just take part in the conversation as if you were one of us. Just come in and join the conversation, or sit there and quietly listen and only come in when we invite you in. And there are probably um, actually many different ways we can involve the AI into the conversation. So my immediate thinking right now is, what do you think? What are your immediate thoughts on bringing AI into the room?
I congratulate you, David, on your technical skill with the
Yeah,
audio mixer, which is a sort of welcome kind of old school approach. I've had a look at a vendor site where they are, if you like, selling uh, AI in the meeting, well, audio, that's audio AI in the meeting. One thing that impressed me very much was translation. So a speaker was speaking in Hindi, and they were immediately translating that into English, which the AI spoke.
Mm.
That I was impressed by.
Yeah.
I thought that was a kind of, you can't really argue with that as a use case. But the important point there is that what you're getting is the voice of the speaker, the human speaking Hindi. All the machine is doing is using its computational ability to translate it. But the
yeah.
voice is still essentially a human voice, um, albeit that we're hearing it through a sort of Americanized accent. Um, what made me much more cautious was, the potentially indiscriminate use of audio, um, with some of the downsides that you've already touched upon. What happens if it tries to dominate the meeting? What happens if it continues with the obsequious style, or that it's norm? So I think I could be persuaded, David, on specific use cases
Yeah.
which were not damaging the human interactions, but I would need quite a lot of persuading otherwise.
I think one of the things I would like to do is to kind of explore some of those use cases and figure out maybe the prompts that you need to give it to tell it to adopt a certain style. What I think about it before we go on, there is a serious limitation here in its ability. There's very serious limitations in its ability, but one of them is it's not actually hearing the actual voice. So it's not hearing the tone of your voice, can't see you. Your voice is being transcribed into text, and it can only see the text. So it's very limited, if you like, in terms of its understanding of the nuances of the conversation. And it can't also tell necessarily who's who. So that's clearly, but though again, the technology is going to get better, and it's only a matter of time before I think this is going to be commonplace. But Juan, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, before we go a little deeper, let me just make sure I understand what we're saying here, because AI is listening to us right now.
Yes, yeah,
We're using AI to listen, and AI is actually recording what we are.
yeah,
So it's looking and seeing, and it's later playing back. So, um, for me, I've been using the Google chat discussion for about a year, just one-on-one, not
yeah,
not. I'll come to the meeting of three where I can under 3+ where I can see there's a lot more issues. But for me, I mean, quite often on a Saturday morning when I go with my wife to the supermarket, she allows me to stay in the car while she goes shopping. And I have my iPhone and I have my Google Gemini and I have
yeah.
a 1 hour, typically 1 hour conversation about something very interesting. And I thoroughly enjoy it because it gives me the time to just sit and talk. I'm normally writing or doing something else, but on that occasion in the car, it's much easier for me. I just have a one-to-one conversation. It sometimes interrupts me when I don't want it to, but generally it's good on a one-to-one, without any doubt. So for me, what I wanted to clarify with you was you're talking about the strengths and weaknesses of bringing it to a conversation of several people,
Exactly. Yeah. I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
like you, Ron, I use it all the
You
time. In
use
fact,
it all the
it's
time. Yeah.
it's
I
it's
just wanted to
probably
clarify that.
the
Yeah.
conversational mode is probably my dominant mode
Yeah,
because I can just talk.
the second point I just wanted to clarify was, are you talking about having an AI avatar that we can see and possibly speak, or are we just talking about a voice that we hear as the rest of us are in the room?
At the moment, my little hack is just the voice, it's
It's
just the
just the
audio.
voice.
We would just have it as an audio. At the moment, the way it works is I bring I load ChatGPT, or it could be Claude, it could be another AI.
Mhm.
I load it onto my computer in the browser, and I bring it up in a shared screen. Now, I know that with a little bit of work, a little bit of hacking around, I could probably bring it up with an avatar in Zoom, but it would just be a photograph of
Mm.
an AI, and
Yeah.
it would be talking. So it would feel a little bit more as if it were in the room. At the moment, it's a little bit disembodied. Um,
Yeah. So I'm
The
wondering if we can consider seeing it in our discussion or just initially listening to it.
the apps that I looked at was voice only. There was no attempt to create
yeah,
an avatar or anything else. It was purely voice.
yeah. No, I'm doing it with an avatar is way beyond my technical ability.
Right.
I'm happy to wait for one of the big players to provide that functionality, which I'm sure, as I say, can't be that
Well, there
far.
are. I mean, I'm conscious that we're on a podcast, but I can mention the two. I'm sure there are others, so I don't want to exclude others.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've been a user for 3 years of Synthesia for courseware primarily, where I provide the content and it speaks, so that's different. But I have been in the last 12 months with HeyGen, which is another supplier of interactive avatars, where I talk to the avatar and it listens and it replies back to me in a conversation. So you could have a talking avatar. That
Okay.
technology is
It's
available.
there. It's there.
It's
Yeah.
there. Like you, I wait for that, and it's there. And I'm in very early experimental phase because coming from, as we all come from, a knowledge and knowledge management background, what they're doing is they're linking that interactive avatar to knowledge bases as well.
Oh,
So,
okay. Hmm.
so if you've got a knowledge base on a model, you can ask anything and it will be interacting not with us, but with that knowledge base as well. So I can put an Einstein's theory up there, and I can talk with and see this avatar and have a conversation, and it's actually at the same time interacting with Einstein's theories.
I must say, Ron, I don't have any anxiety about that scenario that you've
All
just
right.
painted because essentially it's between you and the avatar, as it were. It's a
Yes.
one-to-one.
Yes.
My deep anxiety relates to a social environment where you have a group of people and this third part, this digital third party, and that's what I'm uh, deeply anxious about.
So,
Yes.
okay, Clive, you say deeply anxious. Care to elaborate on that?
Because the avatars and LLMs are so fluent,
Yeah.
there's a real danger of privileging them. That's
Yeah.
why I'm much happier with the audio only input than the privileging them with a video, because it sort of puts them in a little bit, puts them in their place.
It's interesting, isn't it, Clive? Because I mean, audio enables them to dominate, but with the video as well, and a very a very authentic video, it really does. It really would give them um, uh, an advantage in terms of dominating the conversation.
I believe that human to human dialogue is going to become much more important in the AI era than it was before.
Yeah.
I don't mind that dialogue being mediated through Zoom and other things, but I am very, very suspicious about allowing machines into that as if they were equal to us. Obviously, lots of people are going to do it for all sorts
Yeah.
of reasons. That doesn't mean I have to go along with it. And I am very anxious about protecting authentic human to human dialogue and conversation.
So I can understand that, and I share the same concerns. So if we controlled, if you like, the AI and basically told it not to enter the conversation, to listen to the conversation, and only come in if we specifically asked it questions, to what degree does that relieve some of your anxiety?
Not much.
Not much,
I,
okay.
I want to see humans interacting with other humans. I don't mind if they've got AI prompts in front of them. If they're
Yeah.
individually using AI text to help them with their ideas, I don't object to that at all. But at the end of the day, listening and conversing with other humans is something that's ingrained in us, in our consciousness,
Yeah.
and suddenly letting machines aspire or having the opportunity to be equals to us, I think is going to degrade the human to human interactions that I value.
I I broadly agree and I share your concerns, especially the human to human, what that means. I have to say, I think it's inevitable it will happen, even if we are not comfortable.
Mhm.
It's my intuition tells me it's going to happen, and we're going to go through that stage. I mean, David, your philosophy with the Knowledge Cafe. I mean, that is really relies on a safe space, unstructured, unrecorded, you've often said, and for creative thought. There
Yeah.
is an argument, is there, that perhaps the introduction of this might kill some of that creativity and initially, if not ultimately. We're not comfortable today with that, are we? I think all three of us, it seems, we're not comfortable with it. Will
It's a
we ever
good,
become
yeah,
comfortable?
it's a good question, Ron. I mean, it's strange. I haven't stopped to think, would I want to invite an AI into the Knowledge Cafe?
Yeah.
My immediate gut reaction is no, for the reasons that you just mentioned. I'm concerned about it because clearly, that the whole focus of my work is around conversations and quality conversations. Um, and I'm probably as anxious as Clive in terms of maybe the impact on society, because people are going to, once they use it, they're going to abuse it.
Yeah.
But I'm not so concerned about this. This might be sort of totally what's the word I'm looking for? Um, well, what I'm going to say is that I'm not so concerned about using it myself, because I think I've got the ability to kind of control it, if you like. But that may well be sort of unfounded, shall we say? Um, so, well, again, I think what we need to do, we need to try this ourselves, to bring it in
Yeah.
ourselves, and just see what that impact is, because it may be less. Again, I'd be interested in your views, Clive. It may be less of an issue for three old codgers like us who have been around the block a bit than people who were, I'm too sure how to put this, but just people who might just not be aware, if you like, of maybe the consequences of bringing it in. I mean, do you think, Clive, that it would, if we had it in the conversation now, it would cause you a problem in so much that, you know, it would try to dominate, or you might be convinced of something that you might otherwise not be convinced of, or, you know, it's going to sort of severely degrade the conversation, especially when we can tell it to shut up and switch it off if we're getting fed up with it.
In terms of our small group, in terms, say, of experimenting with it, I'm very open to that. But as Ron has so correctly said, it is inevitable this is going to come along,
Yeah.
and we will get those who haven't thought very deeply about the implications automatically using it. Now, we've got in Zoom recording of the Zoom event. I am already seeing signs. I was in a non-academic meeting recently, and I think there were about 10 people in the meeting, and the administrator of the meeting said, "Is it okay if I record this meeting?" And I strongly objected to that. So the recording was switched off, you know, in the Zoom function. Later in that meeting, one of the organizers shared their screen accidentally, and I could see that the audio transcript was being generated, not obviously through the Zoom functionality, but it was, you know, they were surreptitiously or accident, I don't know how, I don't know why, recording it. So this is why my instinct is to take a very hard line. But I'm not optimistic that it will be used ethically, either by accident or design.
Yeah. No, it's really quite easy to do it surreptitiously. I mean, you could even just record the audio on your phone and transcribe it. So, and there's very little you can do to stop people doing that if they decide to do it. Yeah.
I've been thinking a little bit whilst we've been talking. Actually, I think I have experimented a bit on a group conversation, not realizing it until now. About a year ago, I became very impressed with Google Gemini's ability to see. And often, almost like a party trick, I would have a group of people around our dinner table, and I would get Gemini initially, and I would just walk around the table looking at objects, what are on the fireplace, what's on here, what's there, or whatever. And once I walked around and stopped, I would then have a conversation to demonstrate to them. I would say, I've lost my red book. Can you tell me where it is? And it would come back and said, oh, yes, you've left it over on that sideboard over there, if you look carefully. And so I was demonstrating that. But then I started a conversation myself, continued the conversation and said to other people, and I did this several times, join in the conversation. And you know what the common question was that came back from people? What should I ask it? They did not join in naturally. And I guess I was just a little more used to it. I might have asked that same question myself initially, but it was quite uncomfortable. Very intelligent people were not wanting to sort of communicate initially when I invited them to join, which I suppose is what we're talking about here, isn't it? In that regard.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's possible, of course, they had come along for the dinner rather than
they come along for the dinner and want some, and natural conversation, but for some reason they didn't think this was natural conversation. Well, it's not natural.
You were delaying the desserts one, or the port, or whatever. I mean, even with my cafes at times, that there were people who come along who, in fact, someone emailed me wants to say, "Can I come along to your cafe?" But I don't want to engage. I just want to listen.
Yeah.
Which was strange. And actually, when they did come along, they did engage. But if they have a problem talking, It's interesting, isn't it? If people have a problem talking to real human beings, some people probably find it easier with an AI, and some people probably find it harder. Some interesting psychology going on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brave New World. We've got a lot of experimenting and reflecting and thinking and conversations to have around this.
I think the other thing that interests me is the security of it all. If it's
that's a big
an
issue,
enterprise meeting, you are guaranteed by the Googles and the Microsofts of this world that that content is not going to be used for training purposes. If you're somebody that prefers to use the freemium versions, we all know that much of that goes on to the training models.
Yeah, absolutely.
Freemiums. And therefore people should, it's very important that the enterprise decides and approves which tools it's going to use that ensures enterprise security.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of issues. I think we've only just scratched the surface of so much of it.
But it's inevitable. It will happen.
Shall we stop there? Are we good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.